best. Can you hear me now? Hello? Anything? Yes? Alright. Alright. Wow, that was crazy. It was working like just a little while ago. So, I need coffee now. Alright, I'm going to move the mic. Sorry. And let me know, can you hear the music now? Music you can hear, and you can hear me. Good. Excellent. Excellent. All right, cool. So let's get into this. Yeah, so like I said, I was working on the hand. I have one of everything done. So what's up, Lance? Jamie? Diego? Gentry? What is up? Not even going to attempt that other one, but hello, everyone. So yeah, I have one hand done. The other hand is not done. I started it. As you can see, if I just solo out just the hands, well, let's see. Get the other hand. Come on now. Okay, there you go. All right, cool. So yeah, if you look at this other hand here, I started fixing it, but no fingernails. This pinky is jacked up and you know, still really loose. This Hulk I started a long time ago. I was joking with my buddy because this originally was my unposed Hulk that I used for hold on. All right, open. Let's see. All right, I'm gonna look for this really quickly. Destro Hulk standing. Hulk. Hulk. PSDs. All right, cool. So originally, is it this one? Yeah. All right. So originally, this was what I had sculpted and poly painted and everything. But I wanted a version where, like, he's really kind of huge. So I wanted, what day is it? Yeah, I wanted a version where he was standing. So my buddy Brad hooked me up with a standing pose, and I went in and started just really detailing it. Right, so he's come a long way. I think that there's a lot of even better anatomy on the new guy than I had on my old one. That was like 2 years ago that I did the other one, so that's why. But as you can see, the jeans are super loose. I want them to end up looking more like this. And this is all sculpted. This is not marvelous, so I can do that. All right, the fringes are going to be hard to print, so it's not going to have that, but I will have the little strings where the pants are separated. Yeah, so all right, let's get back to them. And then last night I was working on his foot. So if you look at if you look at this foot, this is kind of what it started off like. Super soft, kind of not so good. And then this is what I did, you know, since then, fixing it. The bottom you're not going to see, but I figured I might as well sculpt the toes a little better to make them look a little better. This was, I think, the super average man was the base mesh. This wasn't a sphere to start off with. I just wanted the joints and everything there and to get right into the sculpt. But what I did here, I'm going to do right now to the other foot. I think that's where I'm going to start. Wait a minute, you can't hear me now? Can you guys hear me? Let me know. You can. All right. Sheriff, you might want to check your speakers, homie. I don't know. Okay, cool. All right. What's a good perspective? Wow, the questions are coming fast. Hold on a second. Let's see. What is the good perspective view for character? I usually switch back and forth between having dynamic perspective on and turning it off. I don't really like to sculpt with it on. I tend to not know what's going on, but like if I turn this guy on and turn on the camera angle, you see that, you know, this is probably the more correct camera, but for sculpting, I don't like doing that. I don't like sculpting with that on. All right, so let's see if I have any other questions here. Sound is here. Yeah, I can hear you fine. Nice sound. Check those speakers, homie. All right, cool. All right, so let's go. I'm gonna get back into the feet. First thing I'm gonna do, like always, is solo out his leg here. I did a little bit of vein work on his calf. Just little details like that are super helpful in just making it look really realistic. So I had, of course, my Pure Ref. I was using this for faces, really, to get a sense of what kind of face I wanted to do. Not so much for his body. I knew what I wanted to do with his body. And then I have my other Pure Ref, which is, this originally was Trap Jaw, and I just have been building and building and building. You can see there's a lot of information here. And I have this book, which is fantastic. I've been using this, been leaning into it real heavily, and so that's what I'm using as well. All right, it's Anatomy for Artists. It's on Amazon if you want it. Loud and clear. You use 2019 version of ZBrush? Absolutely. Sculpt the arms. No, I broke symmetry really early with this, so I'm having to sculpt everything twice. But it's really good practice. I mean, one thing that I really needed to kind of work on as an artist, and I don't think we ever finish learning, is anatomy. So having to do everything twice and fingers 10 times. I'm a mathematician. Yeah, between fingers and toes, 20 different what I consider the hardest part of anatomy to do. So, for me, anyway. All right, so what I'm going to do first is kind of make some copies of foot. Just so I can see what I did here. And if you're new to the stream, welcome. Thanks for joining me. If you guys have been here before, thank you for coming back. It's always good to have people here when I'm doing my thing. All right. All right. Okay, that book is amazing. Yeah, no, it's fantastic. I love it. Since it was a base mesh, but how do you fix the topology? Is it Dynamesh or Divide? I kept the topology low and just subdivided and worked up the detail. That's one thing I really like about using. I've kind of modified this particular, not this base mesh, but the one that I start with. I think fairly certain it started off as Super Average Man, and I went in and just got rid of things like the nipples and, you know, the genitals and things like that. So I use that pretty much as my starting point all the time, and it has good topo. If I go in, I have the poly groups that I kept. You can see that on the hand and foot that's done, I have the fingers and toes separated. The ones that aren't separated from the feet and hand are not sculpted to completion. So that's what I'm going to do now. Thank you for tuning in, my friend. Share those pure ref files. Man, that ain't nothing but a little Google. And go to my... Actually, you know what? Go to my Pinterest. I have a massive anatomy and hard surface and comic. All that stuff is on there. So go to my Pinterest and you'll get all that. Alright, so let's get into the foot. And keeping it really low like this helps me to separate the separate parts. With the toes, it's a little more difficult because they are it's a little harder to pull them apart. Yeah, see what I'm saying? Let me know if the music is too loud or too soft, please. I want you guys to be able to hear me, but I don't want it to be boring. So I'm just going to get as much as I can without getting into some of the, you know, the triangles and things like that in here. If you guys have questions about anything, just hit me up. I'll answer them. If I make weird faces while I do that, while I work on this, it makes me sculpt much better making very odd faces. If I try to look cool, I just screw the whole thing up. Alright, I think I can get this loop too. Yeah, no I can't. I can get most of it. Let's see. Yes, it's for 3D print. I'm going to make this probably quarter scale. Let's see. 13 minutes. Yeah. Thank you. Thanks, guys. Manual retopo or ZBrush. This I haven't had to retopo yet. This is all. I believe this is the same mesh that I had to start with. I'm not very good at doing retopo. I have a friend named Tony who is a savant at it. He actually enjoys it, which is weird to me, but he's very good. All right, I still have a part here that I don't need. Ah, did it again. I just want to separate the toes. So once they're done, I can auto group them. Come on, dude, I thought I had this. Let's get this one. Oh, you know what? When I do one, another one kind of disappears. So let's do this. All right, I'm just going to auto group it this way. Auto group, and then I will hide this one. All right, there you go. Cool. That's what I want, and then I can start to sculpt. And as you can see, they're real soft right now, but that's okay. I'm gonna fix it. I pretty much, with fixing all this topology, just been using the damp standard and clay buildup. What's up, Craig? What's up, Theory? Nice work, nice body balance and anatomy. Tips for me, I don't have a tablet. Yeah, you will have a very difficult time sculpting with a mouse. Just letting you know that. Anybody who doesn't know me, I sculpt for fun. I actually get paid to paint, so I do stuff for movies and toys and things like that. But trying to sculpt with a trying to sculpt or paint digitally with a mouse that's crazy. No bueno. So what I've been doing basically is just going in and not worrying about the details until after I get the forms right, and just scratching them in. I like this method because it's really, you're just sketching in the forms basically. So unlike a lot of shows where I have been doing a lot of explaining what I'm doing, this is kind of more of a kind of watch and ask questions deal. I get asked about how I do anatomy stuff all the time, so now you get to see me doing it. No straps and buckles and all that good stuff. Course on painting. I did a class with for painting with Cesar DeCall Jr. a few years ago. I don't think that that's still available, but I do have some stuff on my YouTube page, which is here. There. You can go there. And all I'm doing with this is just building up and then pressing the Alt or Option on a Mac to dig in until I get stuff that I like. It's real dirty at first. The thing about this that's kind of nice is that once I'm done, I'll go back in with pass, and I'll get to this today on a lot of the body, where I'm kind of unifying the forms and smoothing it out a little bit, but I still keep some of this cross hatching and stuff, which lends itself to skin. It's nice. It's not as smooth as, say, the jeans, which, you know, look really boring because they're so flat. Oh, sweet. Thanks all day. Just got a subscriber on my Twitch. Thank you, thank you. YouTube isn't available in your country. Oh man, sorry about that. Well, if I do tell you what, if I do anything for, say, why is that restream there? Get out of here. If I do anything for, what's the thing called that you sell stuff on that artists use? Why can't I remember the name of that thing? I'll let you know. Also, I will remember it first and then I'll let you know. I bought stuff on it before. Yuri, thanks, man. Thank you. Trying to get my Twitch following up. Let's see, how often use Dynamush? Never. Well, not never. Rarely. I'm not a big Dynamesh guy. That's impressive. Thank you. I noticed many streamers using Sculptress. I love Sculptress, and in fact, if you go to the ZBrush page and look at the Sculptress Pro images, the Venom is mine, the Venom ball. So I will be using that because there's areas on here where the topology might not quite lend itself to getting some of the like super fine details, and I really enjoy using that to go in and kind of figure it out. Let's see. Because you're never going to get perfect topology. I mean, unless you're, you know, Tony Gore and you go and do it manually. Tony Gore's that guy I was telling you about. He's my frenemy when it comes to topology. A little too good, you know what I'm saying? Gotta watch that cat. So I put a post on Facebook earlier this week, like this, just sculpting anatomy is like super relaxing to me. And I could use that in my life right now. So I've been doing it a little bit. In addition to client work, you know, gotta pay the bills first. Alright, so eventually, in case you're wondering, I will be kind of cracking up the toenails. Hulk has like a really nice manicure going on right now. Pedicure. Super nice toes. Which probably, if you're jumping off buildings and kicking tanks, they wouldn't look quite so nice. It's a whole lot of building up and then digging in until I can figure it out. Oh, they don't import tablets because it's not one to buy, so it's hard to get. Oh, I didn't know you were talking about tablets. I thought you meant YouTube. That sucks. Where are you? That they don't have tablets. Korea, what's up? How you doing? Gumroad, thank you. Jesus. I forget things a lot now. Oh yeah, saving is probably a good idea. I should do that. Yeah, not Etsy. Let's see. You can buy some Huion from China. Gumroad. Yes, Gumroad, everybody. Thank you. Sweet. Theory, I gotta see that, man. I'm not going to be modeling the, rigging or animating this. This is just for a statue. Oh, ooh, I hope to have your hands. I need my hands. Who's Tony Gore? Come on, man. If you don't know, you better ask somebody. No, Tony is a friend of mine who is a, he is a professor at a teacher at Rutgers. He is the guy who has been teaching me Maya in his spare time, and a friend of mine. We've been friends for a long time, and he's like ridiculous with Retapo. Buying the first time. Captain Marvel is good. I wanted to take a break from that because I only have a finite amount of time to get this printed, and I need to work on it. And then also, I've been working on it for a while now. I just needed a break. Thanks, White Sparrow. No, please do follow me. And flow me. Wacom is the best. Yeah, I actually I'm a huge Wacom fan, and they send me things from time to time, so everything I use is something that I can actually vouch for. So, man, a lot of questions today. That's good. You blacked out. Okay, cool. Garden Maria, how you doing? One thing that I did last night when I was messing with this other foot is I never really realized this before, but I was looking at reference and just curving in the toes, the last two toes, the pinky and the other one, really just kind of helps to add to the realism of the thing. So I did that. And I imagine if you have 400 pounds of weight that you're supporting, your toes would probably be kind of jacked up, hammer toes. All right, I always forget this. The inside, which one is it? Which one is it? The inside ankle is higher than the outside. I always forget that, okay. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. In fact, I'm going to, you guys, don't let me forget, I want to take a break about an hour before the end of the stream and start doing some poly painting. I can always go in and continue to detail and add fine details later, but I do want to get started doing a little poly painting. I just have a green, you know, just like a flat green on him right now. If I turn on everything, let's see. These are new pants, so they don't have color yet. Let's throw some color on those real quick. Color fill. Yeah. So you can see this is just like a flat color right now. When I really paint it, look out, player. Gonna have all kinds of skinny goodness. Let's do a render real quick. Yeah, so it's getting there. Yeah, the toe looks better already. If you don't use Dynamesh while sculpting, then how do you make it smooth? I just smooth it. But I actually don't like to use the smooth that much. What I'll do is, I'll show you a part that's kind of done. Let's do that real quick. What I like to do, let's look at this arm. All right, so I've got in kind of the forms that I want. Everything is how I want it. Oops. Okay, I see something here. This is why I like keeping a low poly version of the guy, because I get folds in the geo sometimes and they get ugly. And you can see that it's happening right here, so I can always jump down and smooth that out. Let's see. And then just step up one subdivision level at a time and just smooth it. Yeah, so then at this point what I would do, rather than using the smooth tool and losing all of this nice, you know, these forms that I have, is I would save first. Save. What do I save it as? Yeah, okay. Oh, wait a minute. Tab. Yes. Okay. What tablet do I use? I use a 32-inch Pro. It is the Cintiq. This baby. So just for scale, this is my hand. It's pretty big. And I've used this every day since I got it for work and play. Let's watch. Alright, cool. I don't stream to my channel a lot yet. And I say this when I come on here. I got some personal stuff that's going on right now, and I'm just trying to get sorted out, man. When I do, I will be streaming more. I don't have any reason not to stream, so I mean, other than making money. And a lot of the stuff I work on is all NDA, so I can't show it, you know. That's the only reason why I haven't been streaming a lot lately. And I'm not really super good at Twitch yet. I have to talk to some people. I know there's people on here that are really good at it. And I want to maximize views. There's nothing to me more sad than spending hours streaming to a channel that has nobody looking at it. So. Yeah, alright, so you can see what I'm doing right now is I'm just, as far as smoothing goes, I'm just going in with the build-up and using very little pressure to kind of even out the areas that I want even, and then once I get that done, I can go and, I would normally do this on another layer, but something is happening with my layers right now, where if I add a new layer, it jumps out of position, and I don't know why it's doing that. So what I would do at that point is I would grab like my clay span brush with a low opacity and just kind of do this deal. All right, some of these lines I don't mind because they look like striations in the muscle. So maybe some of it I'll leave, other areas I won't. But this is great because it's this particular brush leaves a nice grainy kind of texture, and when I go in and I add my skin pores, it you know, it helps look like skin. I already have a lot of the work done for me in these under layers. So this is great doing it this way for me because I don't have to worry about losing, you know, a lot of times I'll go in and put in veins and, you know, work to get it looking just right, not too much like a hose on top of the skin, you know, but apparent enough. And then if I use smooth, a lot of times I'll mess up that, you know, the look that I wanted by going in and just adding this on top of it. It's really kind of like putting a layer of skin on top of muscle, and I'm just pressing super light right here, but you can see the forms are kind of getting a little more unified. So there's a really long way of answering how do I smooth. Let's see. Do I have any mentorships? Not at the moment. I don't right now. Thinking about doing tutoring sessions. You know, I've taught classes. I did a class for Ryan Kingsland one time. But the thing about classes is if you don't have a whole lot of people in the class, it doesn't really financially make sense, you know. And I'm not, you know, I'm not only about the money, but I have to justify not spending time on client work, you know. So if anybody's interested in that, just DM me. Because if I get enough of a response, I'll teach. The areas where I get the skin compressing, I like to go in with the inflate and just kind of add a bit of a fatty layer. Now see what happens if I smooth? It just gets, really, I lose all of my details, so I don't want to do that. At least not at the high levels of subdivision. If I step down and then smooth, there you go. Then I can step back up again and I still have the detail. And I go in with my clay buildup, and maybe instead of using inflate, I can just do one of these numbers where I sketch in the fatty fold here. Sometimes you get a weird artifact when you step down in the subdivisions, so it's good to fix that. Oh, there it is. But yeah, so let's see. If I go back to my clay spin, I can go in and just kind of smooth out some of these areas. It's also good for getting rid of some of those hard cuts that aren't super natural between the muscles. That was my biggest problem when I was learning how to do anatomy, was going in and having balloon muscles where, you know, there's like a super hard cut. And if you look at, you know, like there's no fat on top of the skin at all. So you want to keep those forms, but obviously you don't want to have it looking too cartoony, unless you do, you know. One of my favorite artists, sculptors rather, has very pronounced anatomy, and I love his work. It's Eric Sosa. So, God, that is a heavy statue. That was the best statue buy ever. I think that thing cost maybe like $250. And it weighs a ton. One of my favorites. Best part about it is it's for work. It's all inspiration. So you can see I'm keeping like a pebbly texture by using this brush. And it's located, if you want to try it out, in the shelf under your clay brushes. It's just called Clay Spin. So I know I got off my toes, but everything's got to be done, so there's no such thing as working on anything and wasting time here. This is the only way I can get something done in a timely manner, by the way, is to have a deadline. That's the reason why I can paint for a living, is because I have a gun to my head to get stuff done on time. When I have all the time in the world to sculpt, I will overthink it until I get sick of looking at it, and then I don't touch it anymore. I do want to add more veins on this, so I'm not going to go too crazy on smoothing this out. I just wanted to show you what I do here. He's going to be pretty vascular, I think. Also really good to move the light around. See what I have going on here. It's funny how there's things that I never saw at a particular angle with the light, and if I move it I can see just something that's a glaring mistake. Alright, let's see what else is going on. Let's see. Is it different? Is this a different? Yeah, it is. It's the clay spin. Clay spin. No, it's not my first 3D printed thing. So the Formlabs guys printed my Bishop. It was small though. I'm still waiting to get it from them. But my Bishop and my Venom Ball. And my buddy Brad printed Black Dynamite, which is awesome. I just, I don't have it in front of me. I'll bring it out next time. But it came out really, really nice. seen the legs. I don't know why I'm spending time on those. Yeah, so it's gonna be my first big sculpture though. That's what I want, is like I'm kind of a sculpture pimp. I like collecting them when I can, and so it's gonna be nice to have in my own thing. Nice to have my own thing. Nice to having. Right. Yeah, so already, I mean, I don't have any skin texture on this guy at all, and already he's starting to look a lot less plastic. So if I go back to my original guy, let's do this. Solo him out. Go to the tool, cut off this, cut on this. Okay. Let's move this out of the way. Yeah, like 1,000 times better for everything. Anatomy and forms. This is, I'm really happy I spent the time on doing this rather than just printing it. Sometimes, you know, you think you know what something looks like, and this goes with paintings especially for me, but you think something is, you know, like, oh, I nailed it. And you put it down for a couple days and come back and look at it and you're like, oh my God, that was terrible. So I always get on this. I have a lot of friends that love to speed sculpt, and that's great. But you know, also kind of enjoy what you're doing, spend some time on it. I think. If not, what's the point? Oops. Thanks, Andy. Hey, thanks, Attentive Slug. Light and Free, did you say? Yeah. I have a black dynamite that is printed. Why is it doing that? Don't do that. Oh, I have touch on. Cut that off. Who said this looks great? Thank you, Jamarin King. Sculptures Pro is dope. Don't worry, I'll get there. Yeah. I have no problem with bashing my own stuff after I finish it. So that's, I mean, to me, that's the only way you get better, right? You can call yourself a master. Hey, I'm a master, you guys. But, you know, is anybody really a master? I know one thing, the guys who are, don't talk about it. It's like Fight Club. Oh, I'm using the wrong brush, no wonder. Why is this doing this? This is what I want. All right. Using a detailing brush to try to build up forms. You'll notice I'm constantly spinning this thing. It's the only way I can see what I'm doing. definitely made the mistake of doing something in one angle and thinking I nailed it, and then you turn it and look at it from a different angle and you're like, oh my gosh, that's terrible. I need to fix that. I think I've seen it. Yeah, you're right. You have just described most of my stuff. Thanks, man. I was using the wrong brush. Alright, let's get back on these toes. You see I'm procrastinating on the toes. Can't do that. Just get them done. Rip that band-aid off. Toes and fingers. Bane of my existence. That explains a lot. I wasn't at the highest sub D level. Let's get that other foot up so I can see what I'm doing. Easier to do fingers for me because I can just look at my fingers as I'm doing it. It's kind of hard to look at my toes as I'm sculpting. Also, if I was using my feet, they would look like hobbit feet, so try to stay away from that. Did you post these images of the feet? Just hold down Shift S and it will pretty much do a little screen grab, and it will remain on the screen until you hit Command N. That'll clear the screen for you. kitten yesterday. She's just kind of walking around, checking out the environment. Running things. So I have this light so my face isn't in the dark, but it's got a really bad glare on my screen. I can't see what's going on. So I saw Hellboy the other day, and I think I'm the only one that enjoyed it in the world, but I was expecting very little out of that movie, and the creature design was freaking amazing. I don't know who, if anybody in here worked on that, please let me know, because the demons were dope, so good, and it was like just the right amount of gruesome. Like, I imagine that if you unleashed hell on Earth, the demons would probably not be anybody that you'd want to run into. So I liked it. Characters, nah, you know, not that great, but the monsters were crazy. If you have seen it, if you're waiting for it to come to video, definitely check it out when it comes to video. Didn't want to do that. That's what I wanted. What are you doing, dude? That's what I wanted right there. Bought the Intuos Pro. Yeah, I had an Intuos that had the Bluetooth thing, and I thought it was going to be the greatest thing ever, but it's just easier to use a cord. I'm like that with my keyboard. I have this new keyboard that I really like that's wireless, and I thought it would be great because I could just put it in front of the Cintiq. Like, that takes up a lot of real estate on my desk, but I just find it's a lot easier just to use the wire. What'd you do? Alright. Tearing up my apartment, y'all. One thing I have to be careful about is the if I am sculpting too close to another piece of geo, it'll pull the thing that's next to it, so I don't want to do that. Again, a lot of this isn't going to be seen. I probably could get away with not sculpting the bottom of the foot at all, but I'm just sure that if I did that, it would show up on the side or whatever. It just helps me figure out the forms if I do the whole thing. Also, my OCD is kicking in big time. Yeah, I mean, Ron Perlman was good. Definitely was good. There's a couple shots in the new one that look like paintings. You know, it's the one from the commercial where you see he has the full-blown horns with the crown. Like, that just is so dope. But then the rest of the time he looks all right. You know what I mean? But you wanna see my cat, you guys? Let me show you my cat. I don't want to be that guy, but check her out. Check her out. Oh, she's gorgeous. Yeah, baby. She's gorgeous. I'm in love with that cat, y'all. Yeah. So, I don't know. I had a lot of problems with it, like story-wise, but I gotta tell you, just the way that the demons looked made up for the whole everything else to me. What's up, Polygon 3D? Holy feet, Batman. Saved. Probably a good idea to save. Yeah, this is one of those instances where doing this in symmetry probably would have been the right way to go. But hey, whose feet are exactly symmetrical? If we're gonna do this, let's get in. Do it right. Make your music. Hey, what's up, Hiram? I could do that. I could definitely do that, but I gotta tell you, then everybody would have the same music. I don't want to be that guy. I have friends that stream all the time, and I was like, hey, where do you get your music? And they're like, they clam up. I forget you guys. But I realized that they'd be like, hey, Mike, why are you playing the same thing as everybody else? Alright, that looks like a toe. Yeah, so looks really rough, but like I said earlier, the actually all these little hatches and imperfections and stuff will show up in the final version of the skin, and just make it more dimensional, I think. That's the third toe. Way easier to do fingers for me. Maybe I just start staring at my toes. Tell me, when do you sculpt with perspective and when not? Yeah, I had said this earlier. I don't sculpt with perspective turn on myself. There are some people who only sculpt with perspective turned on. I think it's a personal preference. But like if I was to turn on perspective right now, right, then I can't tell what's going on. You know what I mean? Like, I gotta have this turned off to sculpt. I can't do it. You know, if you can, God bless you. I'm not that guy. So, and there's no hard and fast rules for any of this, man. If you wanna, if it works for you, do it. If it doesn't, try something else. That's the great thing about ZBrush. There's a million different ways to do everything. You know, if I'm making hard surface stuff, I'm going to use ZModeler to do it. Some people use Dynamesh or Boolean features, so there's no wrong way to do it. Some people leave ZBrush altogether, use a third-party thing, and then come back. You know, so. I guess what I'm trying to say is, do you? That's what the kids say, I think. You gotta do you. Don't tell me you drew that. I did not. I sculpted this. I didn't draw it. Thanks, man. Yeah, who in here sculpts with it on? I mean, that's an interesting question. There are, I know guys that do. If you have to sculpt with perspective on, tell me. Some people usually do it for faces, like they have to have perspective turned on to do faces. And I could see that, you know what I mean? I rotate my stuff so much that it's one of those things where it doesn't really matter. All right, I see right here the geometry is pinching in on itself in this corner, getting ugly. Be easier just to pinch this a little bit. Hide this guy. There you go. That's better. 232. All right. This can't only be the toe episode, so I'll move on to some other stuff. Don't worry about it. It's the piggy episode, y'all. How do you cut the parts and they appear again? These are all polygrouped. Everything is polygrouped. So all I'm doing is hiding specific groups and showing groups. Right. So if I hold down Alt and Shift on a PC option, Shift on a Mac, and click on the yellow group, it disappears. See, like that. So that's all that is. But it has to be grouped. If you don't have polygroups, then you're not going to be able to do this. See what's going on with the light like this. Save before it crashes. Save as. Yes. Thanks, Mauricio. Leave ZBrush fools' names. Got a bomb thrower, y'all. Better pedicure. Yeah, exactly. I know his toenail game is tight right now. Don't worry, I'll scuff him up. Better toes than me. All right, so the other one is where I will get my curve on here. So let's do that. I can tell right now this toe is going to be in the way. Okay. All right, don't crash. Okay. Got much more of the toe than I wanted there, but I can fix that. It's a good thing about not having this at a finished state. Let's go and fix all that mess. Oof, that's a doozy. Keep your lower sub D levels, you guys. You never know when you might need them. Alright, now I can fix this toe, which does not look anything like a toe anymore. Doesn't look like anything. So this one is kind of at an angle. Make sure I keep that angle. Hold on a second, guys. My daughter's in Italy. Just bear with me a second. Who is this? I don't know who that is. I don't know you. Is that my daughter? I bet you it's my daughter. She's in Italy for a whole week, and I wanted to talk to her. Tony, I take back everything I said about you. It was all good. You wish you could smell Hulk's feet. Beautiful. Thanks, man. Hello in Peru. What's up, Diego? And again, the bottom of these feet is they're gonna be finished just enough that they don't look completely wacky from the top. Since you'll never see the bottom of his feet, aren't that supposed to be over a little bit? All right, let's get that pinky where it belongs. And I think we're good. Nice, thanks, man. Oh no, I'm sorry to hear that. Sorry to hear that, Vertes. It sucks, man. This pinky toe looks like who did it, so we gotta do some reconstructive surgery here. It barely passes a pinky toe. Oops, didn't mean to do that. Did I do that thing with the bottom again? I sure did. Alright, let's do this. Hey Tony, if you're still in here, I think I got something going on Friday, man, but I'll talk to you about it later. Saw you direct message me something. Alright, so pay no attention to the top of his foot because it's jacked up right now. More modeling for 3D printing, video games, and movies. I paint for video games and movies. The modeling is, I don't really do any animation with it. So the plan is to print everything that I've done at some point. That's the plan. But yeah, the stuff I do for film and television, games and stuff, that's all painted. Now I'll use my models as reference for that stuff, so I guess it all kind of counts. That's why the title of my thing is Illustration by Way of Sculpture. Endgame comes out next week, right? Is that next week? I think so. I haven't watched any trailers lately because they always give too much away in the trailers for me. But this whole thing can come over some, as far as I'm concerned. That looks more like a toe. Is that in the wrong position? Yeah. Okay, it's 3 o'clock. I'm done at 4, so good call. I said I was going to do some painting on this, so I actually, let me just finish up this toe, and then we can go ahead and get into some poly painting. Thanks for reminding me. I'm almost done with this toe anyway, so. Baby toe, what are we looking at here? It's not this shape, I know that much. Hey Hannibal, Yeah, that's my workflow now. A lot of times it's sculpture that I will use for my illustration. I can take it in a keyshot and light it however I want, and it just makes life a lot easier. So I'm doing a lot of stuff now for Hasbro. It's still all NDA stuff, but I had a job the other day that I had to do that. I did a sculpture of the thing, and sometimes, you know, I'll get a model of the toy and throw it into a pose, and you know, of course it's a toy, so it's got those toy joints. So a lot of times what I'll have to do is you know, sculpt in the elbows and knees and all that, and then boolean it together, kind of ZBrush. But then I can light it and do my stuff, and it comes out really a lot better than if I was to just guess at how, you know, the light falls around the weapons and all that good stuff. I think this lady next to me runs a daycare during the day. So, I don't think she's supposed to do that. But I get to hear screaming kids all day long, and then I can hear her all night long, so. Never lonely. Thanks, brother. Hannibal is one of my students for the sculpture to illustration class I did for Ryan. That was what, last summer, Hannibal? A year ago. I think it was last summer. Looks like I have these toes over here bent down too much now. Let's fix that. I'll fix the bottom of this foot later because it's not right now, but again, nobody's even going to see the bottom of the foot, but I will fix it later. Alright, let's get on this poly paint. Yeah, that sounds right. March through May. The music is stuff that I found on YouTube. It's all DRM free stuff. One of the artists on here is Bad Snacks. She's very, very good. I follow her on Twitter too. She's a DJ. Alright, cool. So now we have 2 feet with toes. And one half of him is more detailed than the other, but that's okay. I did want to get in on these pants, but I guess I'll do that next time. So let's do a little poly painting on him. I can always turn that off later. But let's do a render without poly paint real quick. Where's the light? Let's see what this looks like. Oh, thanks, man. The Nike stuff. They had really good reference. They gave me good photos to work from. That makes a lot of difference. 2003. Oh, really? The Ed Norton one? I'm all about conspiracies, man. All about those conspiracies. Still waiting to get a man on the moon for the first time. No, I'm just kidding. Or am I? You don't know. Maybe I'm not. All right, I am going to do a... Let's go and bake this. Create a new layer. I do this a lot, in case you're wondering. So now I have the BPR version of the dude, and I can go in and start painting. Yeah, Bad Snacks, yes. How did you start this model? It started off as, I'll show you. This began, let me save first. I have a bad feeling, my spidey senses are tingling. All right, so this began as oh no, well, I'm sorry, I said it was Super Average Man. I believe it was Nick's. Yeah, it was this guy. So this was this guy. Because I really like the topology on him. It's pretty sweet. So if I switch back to my Hulk, I mean, minus the fingers and stuff, you see that if I step down, topology is pretty similar, right? Sans the junk I don't need that. Alright. Flat Earther? No, but I did watch that I did watch that YouTube documentary. That was hilarious. Not YouTube, Netflix. Unless you believe in flat Earth, then, you know, more power to you. But I prefer the hollow moon theory, where the Nazis are still in the moon. Tablet or a Cintiq? This is a Cintiq 32 Pro. All right, so let's paint this guy. And right now, if I turn on my, oops. All right, if I turn on my poly paint, right now I just have like a basic, just flat colors on him, but I don't want that, right? I don't want it to look like that. I want him to look like a real dude. So I got my painting technique from Maddie Spencer. So she's on here as well. But when I first started using ZBrush, I picked up, I can't remember the name of her book, but she was Scott at the time, and picked it up, and I was like, this is dope, so I will paint this that way. And I've done one of these this way before. I did a bishop and painted him where I put in the temperatures first. I would like to do this as a layer. Let me see if I can do this. Last night it wasn't working. For some reason, when I go to make a new layer, he moves out of position. Let's see if it does it today. So it's recording now. If I stop it, let me save first. Save. Yes. All right, so if I stop this, watch what happens. Anybody know why that happens? He moves like out of place. Something happens and he like moves out of place. And the only way that I can undo that is to step back. It's like he's, look at that. It's like I'm turning off something, but I'm not. Right? I'm just stopping the layer, and if I try to make a new layer, it does it too. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know what's up with that. I don't know why it does that. I don't like it. Because I would like to continue to put veins on this guy and everything else. Maybe if I bake everything at one time, it will not do that. Let's see, subtools. Let's see. Oh, I don't know yet. Vertez, DM me. Everything for me is at Mike T Artworks. So Facebook, Instagram, everything except for YouTube, which is Mike T Artwork, singular. And my Twitter's Artworks. Everything's at the top or the bottom. So down here. Try saving camera spot. Are there? Yeah, you know what? There is a morph target. But I don't think, or maybe if I flag the morph target first. Yeah, if I switch the morph target, this is gonna be everything that I had yesterday, I think. Yeah, what a difference a day makes like that. A whole lot of different stuff. Maybe if I delete the morph target. Is this the right one? Switch. No, this is the one I want. Delete the morph target. Go to layers. Make a new layer. Nah. I don't know what that's all about, but I don't like that at all. Any other suggestions? Any of you guys know? Maybe if I bake everything, I'll be okay. Let's see. Bake all. Fingers crossed. Oh, cool. All right. That's cool. No, it's not. Where's my veins? What the hell? Why would it delete something if I bake everything? Bake all. Okay. Kept it this time, right? Okay, good. Alright, so I'll just save this as a new one and start painting. Cool. Let's turn on the subtool colors. Of course that happens. That happens every time. That's because I had the layers, and I think I saved while I was doing the layers. Get out of here, dude. PureRef is always on top of the thing I don't want it to be on top of. Alright, so I want this to fill with the flat color fill object. Seriously? Oh. Apparently I have something masked. Color fill. Alright. And let's go back to my version of the basic. Alright. Alright, so just to start this off, I'm going to fill it with red. Don't get excited. This isn't Thunderbolt Ross I'm working on here. This is Bruce Banner. I do want to do a different... One of the things I'm thinking about with this guy that would be kind of interesting is I'm going to do a cut. If I can do this, I'd like to do a cut so that this... Well, I could just cut it at his head. I'll just cut off the top of his head. And I'll do a red Hulk version with the different hair. That would be kind of cool, I think. All right, now let's get a skin shade that I can see. It's actually a little too light. I'm gonna go with the ZBrush painting thing. Where's that? First, I'll fill it with something that I don't mind losing. Material. ZBrush. Paint. There you go. Already. 1,000 times better. Alright, so if you've seen me do this before with Bishop, it's the same deal here. All of my cavities are going to be blue. My my midtones are going to be red, and the highlighted areas will be in yellow. And I'll end up with something that kind of looks like Predator Vision, but when I start laying semi-opaque layers of green on top of it, it'll look like skin. Right, so what do we do first? Yeah, first I am going to... Yeah, first I'll lay in just some flat colors, some Airbrush colors here. And I want to make sure that my standard brush does not have anything other than RGB turned on. And I believe I'm going to use an alpha. Let's see how this looks. Wait, did I fill this? Yeah, I did. Okay. All right, I want to turn up my RGB intensity. Is it at 100? It's at 100. Why is it so light? Now RGB's and intensity is at 100. I don't know why it's coming in so light, but it's alright. It's okay. This is one of those times where starting as an illustrator kind of helps. I love poly painting. Like, I have Substance and I like Substance a lot. You do a lot of really great things in Substance. But for some reason, I feel like painting in ZBrush just feels better to me, you know? I'm sure it doesn't hurt that my UV game is real weak. You know, I hate making UVs with a passion. But once I have them, I can go in and do stuff like the Carnage that came out pretty good, I think, in my opinion. In Substance, that is. So this is kind of shiny. Let's see. What does just basic material look like? It's too dark. It's too dark. I turn up my light here. Where's the light? Put the light right here. Let's turn up the intensity. Get down the intensity. This is the thing, trying to bounce back and forth until you get the right. Oh, ZBrush paint, that's the one I want. There you go. Okay, it takes off that speck a little bit. I just wasn't liking the speck. So now I could do a cavity mask to do this, because I'm not done with the sculpt, and there's areas that I'm going to come in and really get in there with that cavity mask when I have pores and things on my high frequency detail. I'll save that for last, but for now I just go in and just hit these shadow areas. Thanks, John. Yeah, getting a good poly paint after you really detail something just makes all that stuff pop like crazy. One of the toys that Hasbro gave me to work from, just for fun, I went and poly painted the OBJ and just went to town on it, and it really looked awesome when it was done. It was a great sculpt to start with, so it wasn't like it was that hard to make it look better. And you can see I'm really just blasting through this. It doesn't have to be perfect. Most of it is going to be covered up. But believe me folks, you'll be able to see it. It makes a difference. Many people have said that to me. Many people. So this, if you're wondering, this is how I made this Hulk look so kind of subsurfacey and like real skin texture. This all started off the same way. He was red with the same kind of cuts, and you can see that these areas around his abs and everything just have the dark, you know, the dark tones to it. It's because none of that is flat. That's all done the same way. Same thing with these jeans. These jeans pop off like this because I painted them the same way. I mean, not reds and stuff, but you know, same technique. Why is this not? Oh, I'm doing ZBrush commands in Photoshop. Sorry about that. Does a client like Hasbro give you plenty of artistic freedom? Yeah, as long as I stick to the brief. I'll give you a perfect example. I was working on a character for them, and he lends himself to having a snake type of a texture. Like you would think that in his uniform he would have a snake kind of type of texture, right? That's all I'll say about him. But so I went and found this really kind of dope rattleskin kind of a texture that when I was done with the illustration, I put that over top of his like I composited it into the illustration to, you know, make it look like it was real clothes and not just a painting. And I thought it was going to be a home run, but the client didn't want that because it didn't match the toy. So, you know, sometimes you gotta pick and choose your battles, but more often than not, I get very little in the way of, you know, just unreasonable changes. Most of the time, it makes a lot of sense. And you know that saying, like, the client is always right, you know, whether you like it or not. Those guys are great to work with. I've worked with people who were ridiculous. Like there was an illustration I did for EA Sports for the cover of NFL Street 2. And it had Jeremy Shockey on it with Exhibit. And they took all these photos of Jeremy playing the game with Exhibit and his girlfriend, and he's having the time of his life. You know, he's smiling and all this stuff. He's looking straight forward. And the client was like, all right, so here's the reference. Now make him look mad and also change the direction that his face is pointing, like do a different angle on his face. So that wasn't fun. I had to do this face like 50 times. And if you go to my website, I don't even show the piece. Even though they were happy with it, I didn't like it at all. So every once in a while, ooh, that's heavy. Every once in a while you get one of those. You kind of got to roll with it. That was a rough job. It took forever to get paid on that one. Anybody from EA is watching, I'm sure you got a whole new regime over there now. Holla at your boy. All right. Maybe I should have done a portion of him. This is a lot to paint. So all this temperature change is going to do is just push back the blues and, you know, bring forward the reds. And then on the areas where it really, you know, pops forward, I'll have a little bit of yellow. Like usually reserve that stuff for areas where bone is. You know, elbows, forehead, things of that nature. Bummed out I missed my daughter's call. What's up, Ross? Just joining. Can you explain what you're doing with sculpt? Damn those hands. The sculpt or the paint? Novelty. Like right now I am doing a little bit of a poly painting, and what's going to happen here is I will, once I get in some temperature variations, then I'll come in and put a I'll start adding green on top in various opacity layers until it starts to look like skin. So we'll just imagine skin without, or get rid of the top few layers of epidermis on your skin, and that's kind of what I'm doing right now. You know. It always looks wild until you get to actually adding the color of whatever person you're painting, and then it's like, wow, that looks dope. But you could call this a clown pass, for lack of a better term, you know? Basically putting in clown colors. And then you lay the skin on top. And I learned this from Maddie Spencer. Also, Chris Moffitt, this friend of mine, he does he worked on Orcs Must Die and a whole bunch of other stuff. He's a really good dude. When I was first learning how to use ZBrush and poly paint and stuff, we jumped into a hangout together, and that's what the technique he uses. So if you've ever seen those orcs for the game, they look really cool. Like, that's what he does. I'm gonna reach out to Chris. I haven't talked to him in years, actually. Yeah, just painting. it's 3:36. Let me I'm gonna put a pin in the blue and start adding some other stuff here. There's no way I could paint his whole body in this session. I really want these to pop, so I know I said that I would usually reserve the yellow for the bone areas, but I'm gonna put it on some of these areas that I really want to feel dimensional, and I'm spraying it on. Punch up the love handles too much. Oh, I'm looking like he's fat. You guys have any questions? It got quiet in here. Still with me? Why red and blue? These are the subsurface colors. So when I lay the skin on top, I'm going to put it on in a low opacity and build it up so that you'll be able to see these tones underneath. Brad Grotman art. Yeah, that's my partner in crime right there. Brad's going to be bringing this baby to life. Print this bad boy. 16 inches tall. Beast mode. I was telling Brad last night, just doing something as simple as curving the lips in really helped to give him more of an attitude. Like I had his lips kind of just out like a regular expression. Alright, so let's save this. Can you export your poly paints to a diffuse map? I can save the texture when it's done. Layered poly painting. I've not had success with that. I don't know if you can do layered poly painting and it works. Like, I don't know. I wish I could. Let's see. Let's see if maybe you can now. Maybe I was doing it wrong. Layers are great until I get to color, and then it starts really acting crazy. Let's see, add. Will it let me? Let's choose a wild color here. Uh-oh, it work? Oh, dude, game on. Yeah, I haven't been able to do that before. Delete that. I want to delete this one. Make a new one. Oh, dude, game on. New. Could you always do that? Let's see. Okay, good. Brad answered that question. Alright, so now I want to start tying these colors together a little bit. So what I want to do is I want to grab this, right? Yeah, this, but I want it to be alright, wait a minute, what do I want to do here? Drag mode, right? Yeah, drag rec. I want to turn down the opacity and start adding let's turn up the opacity a little bit. Am I recording now? Yeah. Turn down the opacity, it's too much. So the plan is, by adding this veining in this color, this is going to be one of the layers that I do like this in this particular color, and then I'll switch to another color. But you know, when you look at your skin and it has that like that mottled type of effect, that's what I'm going for. And when you lay on the what is it? Lost my train of thought. When you start to lay on the skin on top of it, it just looks really, really nice. So if I was to take this to something like Keyshot and have translucency to the skin, it really just shows. It starts to look dimensional as opposed to just looking like I just laid a green layer on top of him. So it's alright, because he's going to look ugly for a long time. Like this, what I'm doing right now, by the time I'm done, it's going to look like a mess. And then when I put the skin on top, you non-believers are going to be like, oh my god, he made it work. I thought it was going to suck. Yeah. First time I looked at that book back in the day, and I was looking, I think Maddie had done like a demon head or something, and I was looking at it like, what in the hell is going on right now? She put the skin on top? Psh, what? Looked like a dude. If demons were real, it would look like a dude totally. And this is one of those things that I would never really work this fast. Like, I like to take my time with it and really enjoy it, but I realize I only have 15 minutes left. I'm going to save this layer, move on to a different color. I want to try to get some skin laid on top just so you guys can see what's going to happen. Alright, so let's make a new one. Okay, and let's make this, let's make this more like a magenta color, I think. I wonder if I could do a spray of this. What would happen if I did that? Let's turn up the opacity so I can see what I'm doing. Does that do anything? Actually, let's pick a color that I can see what I'm doing. Green? Yeah, I can do that. Alright. So undo that. Go back to this magenta color and turn down the opacity. Another thing this is doing is it's unifying these colors, tying it all together, which is good, because you don't want a transition that's so harsh underneath of the skin that it looks weird. So if I've done this right, by the time I'm done, it'll have like a almost like a Hellboy kind of a look. Valley of the Suck, yeah. Gotta work your way through it, player. Let's see. Lopo, thank you. I haven't talked to Ryan in a while. I gotta see what he's been up to. Time 10 minutes. All right, so there will be more layers, right? But for now, I just want to kind of give you guys a teaser of what we're going for here. So let's, and it's good that I have areas that are unpainted so you can see what they will look like. All right, so let's make a new layer, new one. Can't believe it's saving these. Is it saving them? That is so crazy. It didn't work before, for me anyway. All right, let's record. So now what I can do is I can go in, let's get my Hulk thing because I want to get the right shade of green. Don't want it to be too vibrant. Maybe something, like that. All right, and then turn my intensity down to like 15. Okay. Set the color. All right, so now at this point what I could do is I can fill this. Let me turn up the opacity. Let's try this. Color. Is it doing anything? What's going on here? Oh, you can't fill with layers. That's what it is. I knew it was something. Can't fill with layers. So let me paint it in. See, this is, it's better when I just, screw it. I'm gonna do a quick save. 6 minutes left. I'm gonna have to commit to what I did already, so let's bake all. Yeah, see, it's always something. Let's get rid of this layer, delete. It's real dicey when I do layers when it comes to painting. Can I bake this? Okay, good, I can't bake that. All right, so now I can fill. All right, RGB intensity, let's get back to my color. I think that's good. Now I can start filling. Yeah. Something a little deeper. Okay, so I definitely want it to be green and not yellow, right? But at the same time, I want to be careful because I don't want to fill it so much that I can't see the stuff underneath. So let's try again, fill. Okay, and if you look at his legs and his arms, you can tell that, like, it's a hell of a difference, you know? Still the color's it's not great, still very green. I mean, not yellow. Let's put some blue in here. That's the other thing that's good is you can start adding different colors. Right, it's kind of like bright, maybe not that bright. Maybe a little less saturated, a little darker, maybe more towards this. Let's see. Turn down the opacity a little bit. Let's try this. Okay. Right, so there you go. Thanks, Rick. Pickle Rick! Yeah. Right, so there is an idea of what you can get, right? And you can see how dimensional it looks when you do that. Now, if I change this to a different shader, it's going to look even more. Damn it, the Hulk is in the way. Move, Hulk. Right. Maybe try the skin shade. Ooh, that's too much. I think the ZBrush paint looks better when you actually do a render. Let's do that. Render. Thanks, guys. So this wouldn't be the end stage. Like at this point, I would. He still looks way like waxy, but at this point, I would go in on top of this and start doing more of the spider veining to add, you know, more modeling to the skin and add lights and darks, and then I'd add cavity mask, and by the time it's done, it looks really poppy, right? And I'd go in those shadows and hit those with something dark to really make them pop. But that's the idea, you guys, right? So I'm just about out of time. I got just about enough time to answer a couple questions if anybody has any. Again, if you haven't subscribed to my Twitch and feel like it, I would be very appreciative. Yeah, you know, hit me up on whatever. If you have any questions about anything, I definitely am thinking about doing, like I said, some tutoring for, not tutoring, but, you know, like one-on-one sessions or maybe like small classes, just one-on-one to continue this type of stuff. I mean, it's good seeing you guys once every 2 weeks, but, you know, you learn a little more and we'll face-to-face. There you go. So with basics, it, you know, it starts to pop a little more. Are you going to paint it up on your next stream? Yeah, I'm gonna. Well, yeah, I gotta finish this thing. I gotta hand it off to Brad so he can actually print it out. So next stream, if I'm still working on it, I'll probably be to the point where I'm texturing the pants and putting in like the super high frequency details, pores, skin, you know, like skin cracks and things like that, skin texturing. Because we got to print this. It's going to be big, be a monster, and we got to figure out a base, right, Brad? If you're still in here, got to figure out the base. Let's see. Thanks, Mike. You're welcome, man. You're welcome. Thanks, you guys. Subscribe. Thanks, Rude. Really appreciate it. All right, guys. Take it easy, and I will see you next time. Be sure to tip your waitresses, and Ashley will be on later on today. Don't miss her streams if you know what's good for you. Okay, talk to you later, guys. Peace. Peace.